This is, to me, is the good part here. The worst ideas for first dates. And we're bringing this up because people do this. Thank you so much for joining us again on Second Act TV. Once again, I want to welcome back dating coach and relationship expert Laurie Gerber, who has so much experience in this field of finding love after 50 that she was even, Laurie, make sure I say this right, you were a resident expert on a lot of the dating sites and have literally helped thousands of people. So thank you so much for being here again.
My pleasure.
Well, today leads right into what you know best.
My zone of genius.
And really, this is, I had to laugh so hard at the blog you wrote about the worst ideas for first dates, that people actually do this. And yes. That this is worth talking about. Stay away from these dates if you want to have a second or a third date. But before we go on that, I want to talk about.
Wait for it.
Yeah, let's give us what we want to aspire to on a first, second, and third date, and then we'll talk about what absolutely not to do.
So I like to focus on the first 3 dates because I have a 3-date strategy. And if you don't know about the 3-date strategy, you're just going to go back, you'll link to it. You'll hear me talk about it. This is my signature strategy. It works like a charm if you are afraid of dating fatigue. But suffice to say, I'm only giving you 3 dates to really get to know someone well, to judge whether or not they could be a worthy candidate for being the love of your life. So it is very important what you do on those 3 dates because the agenda is to deeply connect and be able to talk and get to know them. First premise. Okay.
How did you do that?
That would be AI, but I can't take any credit for that. Okay.
Funny. That's so funny.
Date number 1, it has to be, first of all, the most important thing about date number 1 is that it's low commitment. Now, I'm going to suggest always that you have a video chat first. So you know that they're a real person, that they can get their crap together to be on a video date, that they look like they looked on the profile, all of those things. So for sure, that's really the first date that I would say you do, and you do it on the internet. First date, though, low key. Coffee, smoothie. If you must drink 1 drink, great. You can get in and out in a half an hour if it's not the right person. That's a good first date. If you adore the person, you're getting along wonderfully, you're attracted, they're attracted, the banter's great, you're connecting, you have so many more questions, all you want to do is talk, keep going, keep talking.
Well, so then what you're saying, Laurie, is that one of the criteria really for a first date is that you're in a place where you can actually talk.
Exactly. If you're actively dating, you should have your 3 or 4 coffee shops, your 3 or 4 bars or restaurants that you feel good about.
Well, then what about the second date? What's the criteria? What do you want to make sure, what kind of a setting, I suppose, is the question.
So second date, similar to the first, you need to be able to talk. You need to be in public. It needs to not be too noisy, no distractions. However, on the second date, you may want to get a little bit of a different twist. A walk and talk is awesome. There are many human beings who face to face are not as comfortable as side by side. So if they're side by side, either in a car or walking, suddenly they talk more, they think more clearly, and they can carry on a more intimate conversation because they're not distracted by the eye to eye. Plus, as you walk and talk, then you have your whole world to relate to. So it's not like an interview or an interrogation. You're looking at things, you're interacting with other people potentially. There are so many things you learn about a person when you walk and talk instead of just sit at a restaurant where it's like, I am focused on you. This is the only agenda, right?
Well, then what about a third date? What do we look for there?
The third date is actually the most important because the third date is my deadline for determining whether the person meets your criteria or not. So if you miss any questions that you need to ask to determine, you have to get to those questions on the third date, and you have to talk about whether or not you're looking for long-term committed or not. Very important that this not be at somebody's home. Again, I think this is obvious, but I have to say it. The third date is not at somebody's home. Neither is the second date, neither is the first date. None of these dates are at somebody's home because the minute you're at somebody's home, sex is on the table, and that does not help you figure out if this is your person. Again, this is a good one for a restaurant, a long walk, something where, again, you can get to everything, you feel comfortable, you feel relaxed, you're not rushed. That's the agenda for the first 3 days. And you'll notice I'm not putting drinking heavy in the agenda either.
I know I always loved a happy hour date. That was for me, that was my go-to, happy hour. But then I also know, I'd have one or two drinks at the most, glasses of wine. But I have to, when I talk about that, especially like here on the program, not everybody thinks that way. The drinking or how much or when can be just very, very skewed. So yes, I agree with you. It's stay away
Yeah.
from it perhaps altogether, and then you won't get yourself in a situation that you want to avoid. Yeah. So now let's assume that we all understand what the goal is and why it's important and how we structure those dates. This is, to me, is the good part here. What dates to absolutely avoid? And we're bringing this up because people do this. So
People do this. Yeah.
yes, and you might, if you disagree with us, that's okay too. So
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
that in the comments. But let's go over some
Yeah.
of these so you avoid it. Well,
Yeah.
the first one just made me giggle. A fast food place.
Right.
That's
I'm sorry. It's
go to
not good
Jack in the
enough.
Box.
It's not good. It's not a good enough first date. I'm sorry. Too flimsy, too cheap. Okay, if you want to save money, do a coffee shop or go for a walk.
Family function. Would you actually take someone on a family function on a first date?
No, and not on the first 3 dates, please. Right. Unless your first date was a whole weekend, maybe, then the second date could be a family function, but that's too much. I don't care how proud you are of your family. The person needs to focus on getting to know you, not your family. And I mean, at best, it's a positive distraction. At worst, it's a total disaster because families can be unruly.
I would not want to go to someone's family on a Friday. I mean, that would just be why I wouldn't agree to do that. That would be nerve
Yeah,
wracking.
it's weird. It's a weird move.
It's a really weird one.
If you were thinking about it, just put it off to the fifth or sixth date.
Now, I wonder if we get pushback on this one, a double date.
Right.
Because people are, if they're kind of shy or hesitant.
Right. I think people think if they're nervous, they'll be less nervous if they're with a friend. Right. Mm-hmm. I get that. And I certainly get if you're just going out for the night, you want a wing person and it helps you meet new people. But the problem is it's the same thing as having other people in your profile pictures. Like you don't want distractions. You want to be able to focus on each other. And again, it's like the exception proves the rule. Like, could there be a great double date? Of course. If two couples are madly in love with each other, but they have more fun when they have more people to talk to, great. Mm-hmm. But that's the exception, not the rule. Most people in their first 3 dates need to be focused on developing rapport, letting that chemistry build. And you don't want to, God forbid, they like your friend better. No, we don't need that.
And that happens. That happens a lot. Yeah. No,
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, double date's not a good idea. Now, this one's funny. Some of the other ones here is like Laurie is in New York. I'm in California. And I think these are East Coast or New York, but open mic night. Because you probably have that around every corner.
So funny. I mean, that could be taken in 2 ways. One is like, we're going to go up and perform, which is just, it's too vulnerable. It's too prone to disaster. Right. But the other is just like, I'm going to go see unprofessional entertainment, which could be a great fifth or sixth or seventh date, but just isn't good for your first ones because you need to stay focused on each other.
Right. And you can't talk, but I can see where let's go to open. It sounds fun, but yeah, it's not optimal for a first date.
It's a great date, just not too early. Yeah.
Here's another East Coast one. Ice skating.
Have you heard of it? So funny. It's so funny. I actually asked my 83-year-old father like what he thought were the worst dating ideas. And he said, anything where you look like a bumbling fool. Don't do things you're bad at for your first few dates. You want to actually look decent. Unless, and he said, unless you think it would be charming to look a little vulnerable. Like don't go play darts if you're not good at darts. Don't go bowling if you're not good at bowling. I think, again, it could be fun to do something that's like a little new for you, like frisbee or mini golf or something where like if you're bad at it, it's not too tragic, but nothing more complicated than that, right? Like karaoke, that's complicated, right? Like being a good singer at karaoke is hard. Don't do something hard.
This is interesting. Escape rooms. There's lots of people that go to escape rooms.
Great date for the 7th date because boy, will you learn about a person in an escape room. Oh my goodness. Great date for further, maybe even the fourth date, because you will learn so much about a person. I assume you know what an escape room is.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have
I've
to,
never been
yeah,
there, but I know what it is.
yeah. It's like playing a game, but in real life, like you're actually physically, solving clues and getting out of a room. I've actually never done one because I'm too scared.
Yeah, every time I've seen it, it's like I do. It makes me nervous just watching.
Yeah, I've done like a version of it that you can do at home, but I've never gone to an escape room. But I hear they're loads of fun, and I do think it would be a fabulous date to get to know someone. But again, it's too hard, right? Like you do
Mhm.
not want to lose your cool and show all your bad traits on the first date, and
Yeah,
you
or have
will.
an anxiety attack.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Perfect.
That's funny.
Yes.
And then movies or concerts. I'm sure lots of people do that.
That is the most common, right? If you're nervous, if you just want to impress the person, right, taking them to a concert that they might like, you know, enjoying something together, important kind of date.
Hmm.
Absolutely not for the first three. It doesn't set the tone you want to set, which is I'm really serious and I want to try to get to know you. Okay, if you're
Hmm.
if you're on a fling, by the way, if you're just flinging, if you're just trying to have fun, do whatever. Like, don't listen to any of this. You go eat fast food. I don't go eat fast food and do an escape room, and then go home and have sex. Fabulous. But if you're looking for long-term commitment, that's just
Hmm.
not good strategy.
Not the good way to spend your time anyway.
Exactly.
Well, and
Exactly.
then yeah, any place loud. I mean, I think we've emphasized
Right.
that you need to be able to talk.
And by the
But
way, we're all losing our hearing. Do you need to be do you need to be screaming even in a loud restaurant? Like, quiet. Find your quiet spots.
I know I'm at that stage where I can hear the people behind me, but if you're talking to you, I can't. It's yeah, no, yeah. You want some
Bad.
place quiet that you can concentrate.
Yeah.
Lori, I
Yeah.
found a few other ones here over you that I wanted to throw in here real fast. A gym or workout class as a first
Oh my
date.
gosh. Wouldn't that would be a brave soul, wouldn't it? Great seventh date. I totally want to put it on the list. Like if you're doing a scavenger hunt and you need to see your partner in all the different sides and facets, absolutely great idea. For a second or third date, no way.
Here's another one that was listed: church services or religious events as a
Yeah.
first date.
Yeah, no, no. There's just not time. Even if you both are of the same religion, you love the same religion, you agree that even if all of that is true, it's just not going to get you the result you want. But again, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh date, absolutely. If you care about your religious community, you've got to see if the person likes it,
Mhm.
right? That could be a huge deal breaker actually if they don't. So you do have to do it, just not right away.
Weddings or formal events. I think that's worthy to point out because I see where people might do that. Hey, I've got to go to a wedding. Would you like to be my plus one?
Exactly. If you're looking for the one, they don't belong at a wedding with you until you're monogamous, going steady, and in a real relationship. If you're looking for a fling and everybody's clear that that's what's happening, I think a wedding would be a great date. I don't care when you do it.
They do them in the movies all the time.
Yeah. It's a lovely fling date. That's fine. Just be clear what it is and what you're looking for.
Lastly, here, I think it's worth mentioning far away meetups where travel is
Mm,
required. I
mm.
mean, that would that preclude though dating anybody that lives further away? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about
This
that
is,
one.
well, you know what? I'm usually talking to women over 50, not all genders as you are here.
Hmm.
So I will abridge and say I think it's much more okay for a man to travel. Sorry to my children who are going to think I'm so old-fashioned, but I think it's much more okay for a man to travel to a woman. I think it's fine to meet in the
Hmm.
middle. And I believe that sometimes great love conquers geographical distance. So I don't want to rule out somebody who's not
Hmm.
seemingly
Right.
geographically compatible. But I will say this, if it's going to require travel for you to have a first date, you better have a bunch of video chats first. You
Hmm.
better really think each other's cute and you better really know if there are any deal breakers already and really understand what people's geographical desires and preferences are, because otherwise, that really is just setting yourself up either for a fling, which is fine if it's a fling, or
Hmm.
disappointment, which is not what we want.
Right. Yeah, that also will show you right away if travel is required, how flexible maybe they are or what they expect. Because if somebody is unwilling, whether it's the
Right.
woman or the man, that says a lot right there. If somebody
Exactly.
expects the other one to do all the
Yeah.
work. Well,
Yeah.
again, lots of stuff to think about. A good topic. It's a really, really good topic. We're coming to the end. What would you add here about the do's and don'ts of the first date?
I think the big sort of underlying message that may not be clear is that what most people try to do on first dates is have fun and build chemistry and attraction. So there's a lot of, I call it PR agenting, like a lot of posturing and presenting your best foot and
Mhm.
trying to impress and doing maybe some fancy things or some distracting things or some impressive things. I don't recommend that be the focus. I think that can actually lead to so much disappointment and so much disappointment is really the right word because it's not the real you, right? It's not real. And so what we really want to try to focus on in the first three dates is connecting with another human being and getting to know another human being, not impressing them or being impressed by them, but seeing, do we match up? Would our
Mhm.
lives intertwine well? And do I want to kiss this person? Right? So if you want to kiss them, if you want to touch them, if you want to see them naked, and you get along well and you take care of them, and the lives look like they're kind of compatible because you've asked and answered questions honestly, that's what the basis of a real healthy relationship is. And unfortunately, if you focus too much on the chemistry or impressing them or having a great time, you just you don't have time or energy to do that other work that needs to get done in the first three dates. So that's the underlying message I'm trying to encourage.
And it's a great one. And if we really, I know that we'll have some pushback on a lot of that, especially when people hear that, you have to make this decision in 3 dates. But when you
Oh yeah.
really think about it, you really do that, whether or not you focus on that or not. It ends up being 3 dates by the time so if you do that going in, you can save yourself maybe a lot of frustration and time. So anyway, lots to
Yes.
think about. And if you have more questions, if you would like to get in touch with Laurie directly, maybe coach with Laurie, she's a lot of fun. So I think it might be well worth your while, especially if
Oh,
you need somebody spunky to push you along there.
I'm not for everyone. That's
Laurie,
true.
all your contact information is in the show notes. Visit her website, lots of free resources that might help you out in the meantime. And Laurie, I look forward to having you back on Second Act TV.